So hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all, and welcome to this Soccer Hub Talks. My name is Ricardo Albeida. I'm the CEO and founder of Soccer Hub. Soccer Hub delivers online content for soccer coaches, soccer analysts, soccer scouts. So just take a look to our platform and choose the right course for you, okay? We are here on a live webinar. This means that you will be able to ask questions to both our speakers, Nuno and Marius. You just have to introduce your questions on the chat box, okay? So we can select some to introduce to one of our speakers. Also, I would like to ask you please to click on the like button if is everything okay with the audio and the video. Please click on the like button if everything is okay. And also, I'd like to ask you to write on the chat box some information about yourselves, like what country are you based in, and also some information about your job, if you are a soccer coach, a soccer analyst, a soccer player. So please do it, put it on the chat box so we can understand a bit more our audience, and also to try to adapt the discussion to your specific needs. So as I said, we are here today with Marius Niculae and Nuno Milheiro. We will talk about communication, how to communicate in an efficient way throughout the countries that we are working in. So it's a great pleasure to have both Nuno and Marius today with us, and I will introduce them in a few seconds. Hello, Marius. Hello, Nuno. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for coming.
Hello. Thank you very much for the invitation, and it's nice to see you for this moment we live on live.
Okay, perfect. So, guys, I'm going to leave you discussing and conversating. Okay, Nuno, the panel is yours. See you in a bit, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Marius. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for accepting my invitation. It's a pleasure to be talking every time we talk, and it's amazing to have you in here, such a legend. And I'll be doing a bit of introduction about yourself as a player. There's not much to say, and everybody knows you, of course, and here and then in many countries, and you made history in many places. So basically, Marius was a striker who finished his career 4 years ago, still young, and left-footed, very technical player. I like to say this because I'm a scout. I like to do a bit scouting and also to pass this information. But this time I'm gonna do a different challenge to people. Just go on YouTube and be delighted with some videos of Marius Niculae. He played around 500 matches officially on his career. He scored close to 200 goals. He was 43 times international for Romania, and he played the European Championship in 2008. Basically, he played in many countries all around the world. So the subject today that we are talking, it's about the languages, because it's for us that as a Portuguese, I think it's amazing that actually usually we speak in Portuguese because Marius is fluent. He speaks perfectly Portuguese, so that's very interesting. And Portugal was the first country where he played abroad. And also then he played in Belgium, he played in Germany, he played in Scotland, Greece, China, Ukraine. So again, Marius, thank you for accepting. I believe that everybody that is watching now and is going to watch later will be very, very happy to see you, first of all, and that you are keeping in good shape so you could still play. And maybe you want to reconsider and then come back to Portugal to play because we need you.
Thank you very much for these words.
Well, that's okay. It's sincere. It's honest. So, first of all, do you believe that the communication, of course, it's important? Do you think the languages are important, especially in these days to communicate like in the training and with the coaches, and when you arrive to a country also to deal with everything you need to deal? Do you believe that that's an important thing?
Yes, it's very important because the message of the coach is coming fast to you. When you are strained from outside of that country, it's very difficult. Maybe the translation is not the same with the message of the coach, and it's very difficult, in the beginning. I think this is very important for the players who came in country we speak other language to learn very fast. It's good for him, also for the other players, for the coach and everybody, because the integration will be much easier.
Yeah, sure. So you experienced at some point, I believe, in some countries, we are going to talk about that in a minute, some difficulties sometimes, for example, in exercises or to understand like so easily if you don't speak the language. So if you can tell me, it's a curiosity that I have, how many languages are you fluent on at the moment? So
at the moment, English, Portuguese, of course, Romanian, my language.
Yeah.
Okay. French.
Okay.
And Spanish and Italian, 80%.
Wow. So yeah, that's completely wow. So fantastic. Congratulations for that.
Thank you
because
very much.
it's not easy, especially because many of them are different. A curiosity, I think Romanian have some similar words to Portuguese, or I'm saying something that is not very close to reality.
No, it's you have right, and I think in Latin only Portuguese and Romanians have U and J. For example, other languages they don't have this to how do you say
exactly, the sound. Yeah.
the sound.
So you believe it was also helping you adapting when you came to Portugal? So could you understand a few words, or like by the sound, or not really?
Yes, I could understand a few words in the beginning, but after a while I understand many things because we are not so far away. It's also players from Portugal, when they come in Romania, they learn very fast the Romanian language. By the way, I was with a Romanian coach in sporting, and it was much easier for me, to understand the message what I speaking in the beginning of our interview.
Yeah, exactly. With Laszlo Bologna, for the ones that don't know. I think everybody knows. And Marius was one of the last champions in Sporting Lisbon. So yeah, you have that honor, and thank you for that title. So about the languages that you were speaking previously, that you moved. So when you were in Romania before you moved to Portugal, so you were only speaking Romanian, or you already have some background from English from the school or from other language?
In the school, I learn first language. I learn English, and second language I learn French. These two language I spoke before to come in Portugal, and it was very easy for me. We had Phil Bebb, which is Irish, he speak English. Players from Portugal, from Sporting, speaking English, was easier for me to adaptate in Sporting.
Yeah, so what was good, in the beginning, so that helped a lot. Yeah, I remember Phil Babb, the centre back from Ireland, who doesn't. He played in Liverpool.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Yeah, he did. So also the Portuguese, how long it took you to learn, like to be fluent in Portuguese? Full season, 6 months, 3 months?
In the beginning, it took me 6 months to speak. Okay.
Okay.
But after 2 years, I start to speak fluent.
So and it was also, this is also a curiosity I have. It was the bad words that they were trying to teach you first, or that's
Yes,
a
of
myth?
course.
Yeah, of course. It's everywhere
And I
is the
remember,
same.
and I
Yeah, yeah.
remember because I was with Sapinto much closer in the
Oh,
beginning,
yeah.
and I asked what is the name of the glass in Portuguese, and he said me a bad word, and I go to a ladies there and ask for this glass. I want a glass, and start laughing at me because he knows it's a joke. I am
It
a
is.
stranger. And this is my
Maybe.
first memory in Rio Mayor when we was in stage
Oh,
camp.
that's a funny story. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's a funny story. Yeah, even myself, I know I think the only, of course, I'm not gonna say here, but I think the only Romanian words I know are the bad words, because I know some Romanian, I have some Romanian friends, and it was the things that I think it's everywhere that people
Yes, indeed.
teach. Yeah, teach those things. So just also I'd like to ask you, how was the way Portugal possibly what was a bit different from the other realities that you found? Like you said, because first of all, you had a Romanian coach, then you also had colleagues that were speaking in English, so what was easy for you. But usually in the other countries, especially the ones that, for example, Germany, I also have a connection with Germany, and Germany is quite hard. And what was the way to learn? Well, it was your initiative to go to learn. It was to try to learn by your own. It was the clubs getting a teacher, getting you a teacher. Or what was the process? If you can tell me, please.
Yes, in most of the countries, they put teacher to you if you want. But I think you learn yourself. For example, I give you an example how I learn. In subtitles, I put movie in English and subtitles in that language, to understand easier. And after, even if I spoke wrong, I try to spoke with my colleagues, because in the end of the day, they correcting me. And like this, you don't have to be shamed, because if you are shamed, you never learn. With teacher and after with your colleagues, you have to speak. Doesn't matter if it's not correct; they will correct you. You don't have to be offended by this, because another way you don't learn. And this helped me very, very much.
I agree completely. I lived abroad. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
would
Of course.
like to say,
Yeah.
where was my worst, I think, with the language was in China.
I can imagine.
We
Yeah.
had there a translator who speak Portuguese, because in Macau,
Okay.
they speak
Yeah, yeah.
Portuguese, and this was my luck.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I can imagine, because even the alphabet is different. Everything is
Everything
different.
is different. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah, completely, and they speak very, very fast. I can imagine it was the biggest challenge. Someone here was asking if you still remember any bad words from Greece.
Of course.
Don't tell it, please.
No, it starts first.
Yeah.
First word. If I learn in English, it starts with M, like Marius. He
Okay.
knows what I'm speaking about.
So yeah, of course. So just we have here other questions. I just wanted to tell you that I agree completely with you the way you said that about the subtitles, and to try to read even the newspaper and ask also people to correct you, because all of us, we have some barrier that sometimes we don't like to be told off, or to be someone telling us to teach us. But it's very important, I believe. Also, I lived, like I said, I lived abroad, and I was asking people, please, when I say something wrong, just please correct me, because it's the way. We don't need to take it wrong, like we are making an effort, and then people understand, but we need to be open for that learning. It's very, very important. Only that way we can improve. And so I agree completely with what you said. So we have here a question from Mario. Mario is asking, saying hello Mario. Also, I'd like to ask Marius, who was the best player you played with, and who is the best Romanian coach that you played under?
The best player, obviously, is Cristiano Ronaldo. I play with him in Sporting for 2 years.
Yeah.
He left us to Manchester United, everybody knows, and now
Of course
he's for my opinion, is the best player ever, because he beats all the records. And
sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, Marius. Just one thing that I'm quite sure there is a picture with you with Quaresma and Ronaldo, yeah. The three of you guys, or with Jardel.
With Jardel is that.
With Jardel,
I have one
yeah.
with João Pinto, with him, and Nelson, the goalkeeper.
Yeah. And you can also confess to people that Cristiano Ronaldo plays the way he plays because you've been teaching him.
No,
yeah.
I stay in same room with him in the Academy of Sporting, but no, he already had the talent, and we saw everybody was saying he was gonna be big.
Yeah, and what about the manager, the Romanian manager?
The Romanian manager, I don't, because I learn from most of them. I learned from, for example, for Bologna. I learned from Cornel Din, who was in Dinamo, who brought me in the first team and put me on the field at the age of 15 years and a half in the first league. I have, for example, in a national team, Pittsburgh, I have many from Romania who is in my first top, because I learned something from each, but also I have from outside, like Jurgen Klopp, like Fernando Santos, like I have many coaches. I don't choose one, the best, because from each coach I learn something.
Yeah, you didn't have a chance to work with Mircea Lucescu, no?
No, I worked in the national team with his son, Răzvan Lucescu.
Okay, because of course he's also a reference as a manager in Romania, but he worked with Jurgen Klopp. That's amazing, no?
Yes,
fantastic.
in Mainz, in Germany.
And he was also, at the time, he was already hugging everybody, or?
Yes, I have a photo with him hugging me after the game.
So it's hard times for him now, because it's hard you cannot hug people at the time. So yeah. So another question, during halftime, when there are only a few minutes to, it's from Ryan Roy. Coach Ryan Roy. Hi, Ryan. Thank you for your question. So during the halftime, when you only have a few minutes to talk, were there any times that you couldn't understand the coach? And if so, did you ask him to explain you better? Because there is such a small period to understand.
Yes, was many times when coach is coming very angry. And he tell him only bad words, throwing with the things in the cabin, and you only thing you understand after was speaking was you have to do something to change what you did in the first half.
Yeah.
The most of the time like this is when you don't understand why.
Yeah, that's true. So also, when you are inside the pitch, do you actually listen? The players actually listen the manager most of the times, or only when it's a specific thing for you, that for your movement, for the strategy, or actually the player is so focused that sometimes it's hard to listen the instructions.
Yeah, you have to listen before. When you are in the field, it's very difficult to hear, because especially when you play in the big teams, you don't hear nothing. Even your colleague, if it's near you 3-4 meters, you don't hear, because of the atmosphere inside the field. And because, as I think, the instruction is before the game, halftime also. But who decide inside? It's you and your colleagues.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you need to be prepared already, So yeah, and preparation is everything. So another question in here, and good evening also. If it's English is the number one language that the player must learn to have an effective communication on the pitch, if you believe it's English.
Yes, I believe that, because most of the players which I met in my career was speaking in first language English.
Yeah. A question by myself, curiosity. When you were playing European competitions, or you're playing the Euro, for example, or for the national team, usually you speak with the referees always in English, yeah?
Yes.
Yes. So did you ever had a problem because you were swearing to him in Romanian or another language, and he could understand you or not?
Depend on the gesture. Because if it doesn't matter if you understand or not, the gesture counts. If you go smiling and speaking like this, you look at you and don't understand. But if you go like this attitude, for sure you'll get some
even
cards.
if you are saying even if you are saying good about him, he will come with a card.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, there is a funny story. Actually, you played with Pedro Barbosa, yeah?
Yes.
And you played with Rui Jorge, yeah?
Yes, both.
Yeah, and it's interesting because one referee, I think, it was a referee called Pedro Henriques, that he told a very funny story. That Pedro Barbosa, for example, he was very intelligent, and when he wanted to tell something or complaining about a referee, he was starting to speak. For example, the referee was here, Rui Jorge was there, and he was speaking to Rui Jorge, saying, "Oh, Rui, don't you think this was a fault? I think this was a fault." So the referee couldn't actually do nothing. So yeah, and he was going in a very polite way, asking these stories are interesting because many people, of course, are not from Portugal or even don't know the players, and it's funny also to share because he was always coming with his hands behind, talking to the referee in a very polite way, like with respectful way, but asking the referee, referee, with all the respect, don't you think that was a penalty?
I think this is the best attitude to speak with the referees, because you never will change the decision, first of all, but in the future decision, maybe you will close his eyes. You understand? In my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a way also, it's part of the subject we are talking about, communication. Communication can also be body communication, like we said, it's not all about the languages, of course the language is very, very important, and of course, and we need to learn. And English, I believe it's like we said, it's the most important. Which country you had more difficulties in, even with the English? I believe in some parts of Germany, it's, for example, their English is not great. China also, I heard that that can happen also in some, depending on the place. But any specific country that it was quite hard, even with English, for you?
Yes, only China, because in Germany 90% of people which I met, they speak English. In China, even in restaurants, in international restaurants, they don't speak. In the hotels, international hotels, in the big towns like Beijing, like Guangzhou, they don't speak English. They look at my name, they see Nicolae, and they start speaking with me Russian. I said, no, I'm not Russian. I want to speak English with you. I don't know English.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's very, very difficult. I have to, to translate on the phone and like this we spoke.
Yeah,
This
okay.
was most difficult for me. For example, in that zone, even players, no way. I
No
think
way.
one or two, they speaking bad English or bad French, because one
Yeah.
of them was playing in France, but no chance in China.
In China, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
It's
But
very, very hard.
do you know some words in Chinese, or
Of
not even the bad ones? You
course.
still know some.
Yes, I know. I know
So
few.
even Chinese, you managed to learn. It's
No, few words, but it was very difficult because accent. For example, we had in my team, I think in the most of team of in the Chinese, you have the stranger, the players from outside, not from domestic, not Chinese. We have our table, okay, and Chinese stay together, only them. And one of my colleagues, Lebanese, was there from 6 years, and he starts to speak Chinese, and it was a very funny, because I want to speak about the accent. He wants a cola, and ask one girl, please, you can give me one cola in Chinese. And she asked, what? And he's looking to us. I forgot with the accent. Cola. Okay, cola. I will bring it.
and and it seems so simple, no? It's so
Yes,
simple.
I
Yeah,
said, what? For only this accent? Cola. It seemed like cola.
yeah. It's a small difference.
You
And
mean,
yeah, also in China they have many dialects inside, even inside the same language. They can be very different. So yeah, some countries are like that. And
and
I believe. So yeah. Sorry.
I was playing in one of the best teams there. It's a history, Shandong. It's a big
Yeah.
club, and we have many titles before, and great facilities and great, but with translators was very bad. Very
It's hard.
bad.
Yeah. What about Scotland? Because the Scottish is difficult even for the ones that are fluent in English. It's
Yes, indeed.
sometimes it's in the beginning, like even we spoke about Cristiano Ronaldo. I believe his English was not great when he went to England, but with Alex Ferguson, even some English players said they couldn't understand
Because
what
he's
he was
Scottish.
saying. Yeah, exactly. I think I'm not sure if it was Gary Neville or some player was saying that even himself couldn't understand sometimes what he was saying. It happened to you, or
Yes, it happens in the beginning, because the Scottish people, they speak very fast and with the accent, accent, not like a London accent, the English accent.
Yeah.
It's their accent. Actually, their language in Scotland is Celt language.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
totally different, but they have this accent, and I ask my colleagues, wait, please speak slowly, because I don't understand nothing.
Yeah, but that's interesting. It's parties like even inside Portugal, we also have, as you know, different. I'm from Porto, up north,
Yes.
so it's different, and you can already, for sure, because you can find in my accent that I'm from Porto, for example.
Yes.
It's part of the culture, and those things are.
But in all countries, I think is the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. But about about Scotland, it's very interesting. I also experienced that.
I don't know if
thing.
it's true. For example,
Yeah.
you know Cassano. Everybody, I think, knows
Of
Cassano.
course, Antonio
Okay.
Cassano. Yeah.
Okay. We was playing in Lecce before, and he signed with Roma. There was a Christian Kivu. I don't know if it's true, but I think it's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. And in the beginning, he said to me, Christian, Cassano was needed a translator because in South they speak with different dialect and he couldn't understand the Italian guy.
It might be true, because I can tell you a story that, for example, in Brazil it's Portuguese. The
Yes.
main language is Portuguese, but we have many different words. It's not only we speak very fast. It's for the Brazilians. We have also, because we've been of course the TV shows, the films, the soap operas, all in Brazilian. We understand them completely, but for them it's hard to understand us and our language. We speak very fast. And I have a friend that went to work to Brazil. She's Portuguese, and she went to a very small place, and they couldn't understand. She needed to hire a translator in Brazil. So
It's
it can
unbelievable.
happen. It's unbelievable,
Yeah.
but it can happen. Actually,
Yes.
it's very, very different. It's the same, like for example, in Scotland, it's similar. I think everywhere, even American. I remember when I lived in London 5 years, and I remember in the beginning my English was like English from America.
Yes.
I wasn't some words that, for example, I was saying elevator and they say lift. They don't say elevator. It's. I think it's interesting. So yeah. So you were talking about Christian Chivu that played with Mourinho.
Yes, in Inter Milano.
Inter Milano. Yeah, in 2010 that he won the Champions League.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah. Yeah, he was a defender, left back or center back.
Trinco, how do you say? The defense
defensive midfielder.
Yes.
He could play everywhere. I think at some point he even played with a mask because he was injured. So
yes.
He could play. Yeah, he was a great player, I remember. So that comes to here. There is a question from Jordi that is asking who was the best defender you had to face. He's asking actually if it was Company from Anderlecht.
No, Company was a great player. I was thinking that time in Belgium was the best player in the whole Belgium. But it's a double who is a great defender. I couldn't do nothing. I remember in 2000 we play against Italy, and I have defender like this. I have Cannavaro and Nesta, and I was impressed because they were playing unbelievable. If I pass one, every time was other one, and I could do nothing. It's not how do you say luck, because they won after the World Cup, and Cannavaro was the best player in the World Cup.
Yeah, I think he's the only defender that have a golden ball so far. Yeah.
Yes, and for me this one was unbelievable because I couldn't do nothing 90 minutes.
Yeah, just normal players, like nobody knows them. Nesta and Cannavaro, just I can imagine just like be there in the middle of both of them. Any striker will struggle to be there, But yeah, it needs to be. Yeah, it means also. Yeah, but it means also that if you are there, it's also because you are great, because to have the chance to face those players, it means that you are also great, that you are also in a great position. I think.
Thank you very much for the Euros.
That's true. Who doesn't dream to play against those players, no? So you don't find them playing just across the street. So you need to be in a big competition to play against them. So you had to do your thing. So there is someone in here speaking about a subject that it's known, of course, that you had an injury when you were very young, when you arrived to Sporting, and if affected in a way that that you could play maybe in a bigger team than Sporting. In this case, I disagree a bit because I'm a Sporting fan. So for me, there is no bigger team than Sporting. So, but do you believe that that you could have even a better career without that injury? Because if I remember well, you've been playing the under 21 competition, yeah, I think, or the Euro or the World Cup, no? Before?
No.
Or the
I play qualification against.
The qualification, but you were
Yes.
one of the most promising players at the young players at the time. When
This
you came
is true. This is true.
Yeah.
This is true because
Yeah.
I score many goals in national team.
Yeah, exactly.
In the under 21 and also in the big team, you know. And after I have, I think for 6 months I was great 6 months ever, which I have in Sporting. And unfortunately, yes, I get this bad luck to get injured. In that time, my managers, because AC Milan was watching me for in that time past 3 years from the youngest. I think was very close if I don't get injured in the end of the championship to go to AC Milan in that time.
Yeah, but everything happens for a reason, and you had an amazing career, and
yes,
I think,
and after that I
yeah.
play a final with, unfortunately lost with Sporting in our stadium against CSKA, but I play the final.
Yeah, I know. We were winning 1-0, no, at halftime.
Yes, and after we lost 3-1 after halftime.
Yeah,
but
they had
I couldn't remember when Rogerio don't let me the ball and make a tackling and only touch the ball, he go to the post. If he let me, maybe I score, I make 2-2 and will change the game. Yeah, I still have in my image, sometimes he come this action from the game.
Yeah, that's I remember that match very well, of course. And they had that team with Daniel Carvalho and with Wagner Love, and they had also we were talking about the defenders. They had the brothers, I believe, the Berezovsky, no?
Yes. And after I play against him, we beat Romania 3-1, and I was so happy. They were national team.
Yeah, they were very, very tall, no?
Yes,
they were very.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So Rawad Akim is asking here. First of all, hello, Rawad. Thank you for your question. Have you felt any time insecure during the matches when you had a group with weak communication skills? So yeah, if basically if your confidence was going lower, if the team was not communicating so well.
Because of this, we make training, to communicate, to train the tactics. But sometimes are some players, not most of the times, are some players who don't understand nothing. He don't take his position. He go from the left to the right, from center. But this happen only with few, not with all the team. You understand?
Yeah.
Because if you are a team, you are together in everything.
Yeah, that's true, and that's why we say that some players we can play with the eyes closed, and some others we can even speak the same language or be neighbors, and we don't. It's harder to play with them, so that's what happens. And I think,
for example, in the national team, we didn't. Me with Adrian Ilie, who was playing in Valencia. I don't know if you know this player.
Yeah, I remember Adrian Ilie. Yeah.
And. We didn't have to speak. We play with closed eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
We feel very, very well with him. It's one of the players I feel with him everything. From I know, like in chase, I know the movement we're gonna make. and him too same.
Okay, just one more thing, because I remember I used to. There was a player for me. We were talking about defenders. I know the interviews for you, but one player that was unbelievable was George Popescu, Gica Popescu.
Yes, we playing in Barcelona
So,
also
yeah.
in
So
Eindhoven. Yes.
yeah, maybe you didn't choose him because you were lucky that you played. He was playing in your team.
Yeah, I was playing my
Not
team. I
against.
didn't play against him.
Yeah, exactly. So otherwise, you had to choose him because he was unbelievable. And just another question, because we need to finish this conversation. We could be talking and talking and talking. It's always a pleasure, and those stories. Another question. How do managers communicate tactics to players from different countries in the dressing room, and every one of them will understand? I think we already spoke a bit about this, and yeah. But
Yeah.
if you
Most of them we have with translator. We speak with the translators, the tactics. For example, in Germany, in the beginning, I was me and Soto. He is from Colombia. We play against in the Romania, Colombia, and we playing together in Mainz. And we had a translator for both of us. And every time when Klopp was speaking, he was translating Spanish. Also, Klopp speak English. For me, it was easier. But most of the teams, they have translators. In China, for example, we had translator.
Ukraine also, you had a translator in Ukraine, I believe, also.
No, the coach was Russian.
Okay.
And he speak Russian, and I have a Romanian player there who translate to us in Romanian because was knowing Russian. It was easier there.
Okay, and also Duan Baker is asking here: is bad communication in a squad indicator of a bad team chemistry? If you believe that, if there is no good communication,
Yes, of course, I think so. If it's not good communication, you don't send the message to the players, and don't send the player from the other player, and this will be very bad for the team.
Okay, so just one more question that I would like also to ask you is, for you, what was the coach that for you he had the most? It was natural born communicator, like a person that could communicate in different languages, or that everybody could understand him, or because some coaches are, let's say, some coaches are more on the tactical side, but some other coaches, they can also motivate, or they can pass the message easily. It's like everything in life, sometimes people have knowledge, but they have difficulties in passing the message.
Yes.
Was the coach that for you was like, he just had to say a few words and
yes, for me, for example, more or less like same coaches, okay, different results, was Fernando Santos and Klopp, these two, okay, for me, they was most fairest, fair to the players, coaches in my career. And also they have this messaging. It's only was how do you say, to look at him and you understand what he wanted from you. He's sending the message, doesn't matter which language he speak, doesn't matter if he speaks German. I don't understand, I know the matches and I know what to do. Also, Fernando Santos in the beginning in Portuguese, I don't understand very well what he's speaking to me, but I understand the message. I have to do something, and I think this is are for me the best coaches for motivate the players. But like I said, they was fair to the players,
yeah.
With me was very fair, and I understand exactly when I have. This is, I think, is
most important thing. Yeah.
Yes, because of this, Mourinho had these many cups, and is famous because he has these communications with everybody. Because you have to know to speak with everybody in their language, You have to be good psychologist to the player, because sometimes a player is bad in house. You don't know. We have a little baby and crying, and he can't. How do you say, to recover very well because of this, and are many things, but communication is the best. With this you can find a solution. And I want to congratulate you. You start this project, and I wish you all the best, and I hope you have success with this.
Thank you very much, and I hope also to learn a bit Romanian, because it's fair, so we can also talk in Romanian. And thank you very much, Marius. And
you're welcome.
It was a pleasure for me, for everybody, for sure. And who wants also can watch on YouTube, also on Spotify as a podcast, can listen the podcast, and also of course on Soccer Hub platform. And thank you again, and a big pleasure, and please be safe, you and your family, and all the best.
You too.
Marius. Okay,
and we have to stay home. Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah, that's true. Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, Marius. Bye.